fourth attempt to upload this video or record this. I just couldn't really decide on how I wanted to deal with this because you left me with this annoyingly long, as you mentioned here. Sorry, this turned into a bit of an essay, but as I said, it's very complicated. This is how long it is for anybody else who may have clicked on this video. That's what I'm dealing with here. Now, the reality is, no, it's not complex at all. You're just defending God instead of holding him accountable as you believe he exists, as you believe he's omnipotent, and as you believe he created the universe and all of us. Or, well, Adam and Eve. So, this is a result of me asking the following questions, which you ignored, Jessica. Well, you didn't ignore them, you just didn't answer them. You touched on evil, you touched on punishment, you touched on Adam and Eve having a trial, but you didn't answer my fucking questions, which is something I never really expect from Christians, because you people it doesn't, well, that's why I ask these questions, because you can't answer them. That's the whole fucking idea. Regardless, okay, would evil be our problem if God either didn't want obedience or just didn't create life? A yes or no answer. How is God well behaved, being a genocidal tyrant who punishes people forever who don't accept his son, which has nothing to do with moral behavior? So, I mean, you're unable to explain how God is a well-behaved being, which he is not. Also, what about denying Adam and Eve a trial and cursing us with the sin? As far as I know, that Adam and Eve were not given a trial, so I don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even provide a biblical reference to that says they were. You just go on this fucking tangent. Yeah. Okay, so my first attempt, I decided to just read all this through, just to give you an idea on how ridiculously long and annoying you are by posting this, as you try to guilt trip me afterwards, saying that you put a lot of effort into it. Where was that? Yeah. You thought I was genuinely interested in understanding a different viewpoint, so I put a lot of effort into explaining what mine was. When I didn't ask for you to put a lot of effort into explaining what your viewpoint is. I didn't ask for your viewpoint. I asked you to answer my questions. That's what I fucking... And they are as follows, as I just read them. So right now, I've decided that... I've looked at it again. And it turns out I had actually more to say about this first paragraph than my other attempts to go through this. So I'm going to do that right now. And every other attempt turned into a 20-minute video, which I do not like, but I have been doing a lot lately. So I'm going to try and minimize that. What time am I at now? I'm at almost 4 minutes, so I'm doing okay. Would God be good if his laws were arbitrary? Okay, it doesn't matter what the laws are. The fact that he has laws should be a problem, and you for some reason approve of him having laws, and you seem to want laws. That's the problem here, is I deal with psychology and not facts like most other asshole atheists do. Fuck all of you. I mean, I won't go on to that shit. But, yeah, why does an omnipotent, meaning all-powerful God, a creator without consent, need to have laws? And why do you want laws? I would argue that freedom is good. So God giving us the freedom to choose is a good thing. Okay, so define freedom. And why do you want to choose God or sin? Why do you want to have a choice? And why do you want to be obligated to have to choose? And why, being that Christianity applies to the rest of the world, I mean, it does say that the world is obligated to choose. It's a world religion. that means you are by default speaking for the rest of the world whenever you talk about Christianity. So with that said, why do you want everybody else to also choose, to have to choose? I mean, God giving the freedom to choose. Why don't you want the freedom, being that God is omnipotent and is unlimited capability? Why do you not want the freedom, or given what life is, we are mortal and we are vulnerable and we are also imperfect. So why don't you want the freedom? Why don't you want to be in a world which God should be capable of creating, which you would probably think heaven is, to do whatever the fuck we want without consequence, meaning we can indulge in food that we all like. Chocolate, for example. Eat a mountain of chocolate without ever having or suffering any kind of medical problems or health problems. To be able to do whatever, get into drugs, or even consume poison. It wouldn't be poison, obviously, if it doesn't affect us in such a manner. To be able to jump off a cliff and not experience any kind of injury, or even death. Why wouldn't you want that? Those are just a few examples. Instead, you want the freedom, quote, to choose to repent or live a life of sin. Now, moving on. But if his laws are absolute and evil is bad, now define evil. And, I mean, I think the evil is being without God. And if that's the case, then how can, how did I put this before? I mean, how is it evil? If evil is only offending God by not accepting his son's sacrifice and choosing God's way, which involves hell and cannot be the right way, or my question would be how it is the right way if God needs hell, then how can evil be so bad if it doesn't affect anybody else in the world? If it's only an offense toward God, an omnipotent being. Think about that, Jessica. How can an omnipotent being offended by the creation? That's pretty much psychological weakness, if you ask me. But as for evil, I mean, aside from the definition of it, I had a Christian recently tell me that evil was always there, even before God created the universe. So I don't know how that could work, but that tells me that God knew the evil was there, considering that he's all-knowing. And he's obviously using that against us. Okay, moving on here. Freedom to do evil must also come with consequences. Why? Maybe if God was a more responsible creator, evil wouldn't be a problem, though, would it? As I asked, would evil be our problem if God either didn't want obedience or just didn't create life? Instead of answering that, you went on about you're defending God and protecting him. You're making excuses for God. That's all you're doing here. And you say this is all complex. No, it's not. God cannot be good without demanding justice for those harmed by evil. How can anybody be harmed by not accepting Jesus' sacrifice and repenting their sin and turning to God? How does that affect other people? Why do you want that to affect other people? Why do you want this? So he gives us the choice, but punishes those who make the wrong choice. Wouldn't that be evil? Considering his punishment is eternal? Okay, I also want to include this because this is important too. As to what the punishment is, the choice is between. That is the story of Adam and Eve, and it is a metaphorical one. Okay, so the key thing here is you said metaphorical. That up right now. What is a metaphor? A figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable. Now, I don't completely understand that definition, but I think what metaphor means is that it's not real. And if that's correct, that means Adam and Eve were not real, and therefore evil couldn't be. And if Adam and Eve were not real, then we couldn't exist. If Adam and Eve were not real, Adam and Eve could not have disobeyed God, because they didn't really exist. So you've just destroyed Christianity in one fell swoop here, with one single fucking sentence. Which means the rest of this, well, the rest of your essay here is irrelevant. Because we couldn't exist. Way to go, Jessica. Way to fucking go. And I'll end it there. Because like I said, I don't like long videos. This is already past the 10... Yeah, this is already past 10 minutes.